dolls, welcome to my channel. So we are doing March's birthstone nails. March's birthstone is aquamarine, so this is a look that I've got going on for that. For the nails, sneak peek, obviously I wanted to do the aquamarine color, but I kind of wanted to go for definitely a glam because it's a birthday nail, so there's a lot of bling, but I was really into like the pearlescent colors and the aurora color, like galaxy sparkles and stuff, and then kind of like a fairy kind of thing. So I've got flowers, I've got roses, I've got all the different colors from like aquamarine to teal to kind of darker blue, and then I accented everything in gold. It just seemed, with the charms that I wanted to use and stuff, it just seemed to go so much better than silver, which is different for me because I'm usually very much a silver girl. But anyways, happy birthday to all of my March babies. I will, I think from here on out, be doing these towards the end of the month, maybe not the last day of the month like this one. I have had the worst software issues. The software that I'm using, I updated it and the update is awful. So I had to uninstall, go back to an older version, and that seems to be working better. Not great, but it's working better. So hopefully I can kind of get back into a roll until they do a new update and fix all of the crap that is going on. But anyways, I'm gonna quit rambling. I really hope that you enjoy the video. Please give me a like, comment, subscribe. Talk to me in the comments. Let me know what you like, what you dislike, what you want to see more of. I used quite a bit of stuff. No, I'm not going to say quite a bit. I used a couple things that I just got in my last haul video. I used a pearlescent color that I already had prior to when I got the SHEIN haul, and there is like a teal blue pearlescent color, if you watched my last video, in the set that I wish I would have used for this. I thought about it after I had already cured it, and I was not starting over. Like, I am really trying to get this out there. We don't want to do March in April like I did February in March. So, but still, it's what I originally picked, and it matches like the flowers and stuff. So it still very much goes together. I just can't wait to use those pearlescent ones. And actually, when I was kind of planning out this design, because I do kind of plan out my designs, that is what made me purchase the pearlescent shell polishes from SHEIN. And I have to say, the one that I used today was BEETLES, and I do not notice any kind of quality difference between what I got from SHEIN and what I got from BEETLES. Now, it's not to say one's better than the other, one's worse than the other, but at least BEETLES, you can kind of look up the ingredients in their polishes. I know they're not so long grade, but you can look up the ingredients. That's my dog. Just, could you have some modesty, sir? Anyways, so yeah, I don't even know what I was saying. That's my cash man right there, stealing the show. Most adorable thing in the world. But anyways, happy birthday to all of the March babies. And in case anyone is wondering, I get questions all the time about it. Yes, this is my natural hair. I cut it, and I honestly haven't just like let it go since I cut it. And so because it's short, my curl pattern it's there. It is on point, I guess. And like I said before, makeup is not my forte. So this is the best that I could come up with. I just thought it would be something fun to do together, not because I do it very well. I don't even think I do nails like really, really well. But makeup, yeah, it's just fun. It's just something to play with. Like, I just don't take it seriously. I kind of feel like that lady on the Drew Carey show with like that super blue eye and pink lip. But anyways, I hope you like the video. Let me know down below what you think, and we're just gonna jump right into it. All right, dolls, so let's get started on these nails. Obviously, I have my UNT. I'm using the new XXL almond tips that I got from SHEIN, and I'm also using their nail tip glue or nail adhesive gel. I will say I liked this. It's a little bit runnier than like the 4-in-1 that I'm used to using or LGN's rubber base. It cured great and it held great. It does take a little bit longer to flash cure, and that's probably because it is a little bit more runny. It's still me and full covered tips, so I definitely still need practice, but I got very minimal spilling with these. Like, I'm definitely getting better. And I did clip my natural nails, and I did kind of square them out a little bit instead of having that almond shape, and that seems to help a lot when using full cover tips or using regular tips. I do have a little bubble. If you were doing this set to keep on, you could just take some of that glue, put it right underneath the nail and kind of fill in that bubble. Also, if you were keeping these on, you would want to buff the inside of the nail. You would want to, do your nail prep, but then you would actually buff the inside of the nail tip so you get good adhesion. This is obviously a pop-up set. I'm just showing you the first 2 tips just so you can see what the new full cover tips are like. They're pretty long. The sizing is a smidge weird. Like, I'm having to use larger sizes and they fit the cuticle good, but then they kind of go off the sides pretty far. So you're going to see here when I take my small sanding band to clean up the cuticle, I also went up and then down the other side of the nail. And that just saves me time on hand filing. It's just me being lazy is all that is. And then I am getting a little bit of that spillage off. This is not my skin that I'm filing, and I'm not into my peel off. This is just a little bit of glue that spilled out. I did have some, but like I said, it was very minimal, so I wasn't mad at it. But once you kind of taper these tips in, they look really nice on the nail. I will say I'm happy with them. They're not so much thinner. They don't have like a natural apex in them. Now, my natural nails have a good apex, but these are pretty flat once you put them on. So these would be the perfect tips to put a rubber base on, or you could even put builder gel on top of it, and you wouldn't have these super bulky nails. So for that, I really like how thin they are. Again, just going around the cuticle, cleaning these up, and then we are going to go into hand filing. I will say I was using a 100-100 grit, so it's pretty beefy. It kind of shredded them as I was filing, so that would definitely be something to watch out for. You would definitely need to do your shaping and then go back in with like a 180 and kind of smooth out the sides and the top, which I did not do. But like I said, if I was doing these for real, then I would do them better. I try to do them good for the videos, but I also know that I'm lucky if I can get through the filing before they actually pop off. So I'm just showing you what I do. The design is more what we care about. And I think the next time I use these, I am going to use that new rubber base that I got and just really see what these look like with that, because I think that they're plenty thin enough to put something on top. So I'm just showing you this one nail, like I have been doing, just one nail, showing you my filing process. I'm going in on my sidewalls, kind of pinching in that shape. I wanted kind of a coffin shape. And then I am going to go over the body of that. That way our gel polish has something to stick to. Now this, I would definitely not use a 100 grit again. I would either just buff it or use a 180, because this was just too aggressive and I was just shredding the nail, and then I didn't buff over it, so I left these super deep gouges in it. With all the stuff I'm putting on top, I really wasn't too worried about it because it's all gonna be hidden. But especially if you want a very smooth finish with your gel polish, go ahead and buff these. Don't gouge them out like Jamie's doing. just don't. So I clean it off and then I'm going to show you what we're left with. Oh, no, I'm going to do the free edge first, and then I'm going to show you what we're left with. I don't even know. I just record these. You would think someone else did it sometimes. I'm pretty happy with the shape. They were easy to file. Did the rest of them off camera, going in with this Beetles 865. This is the prettiest, like, light teal aquamarine color. D080. This is that pearlescent shell color I was talking about. I know it seems dark, but it's gonna match. And then this is an Aurora Galaxy one that I got, and it's like, it barely shows up on the nail. I mean, the color wise, but you see all that sparkle. It's just so pretty. Now, I would say aquamarine is probably more on the blue side, less on the teal side. I'm not crazy about blue nails, but when I was kind of drawing out my design and then looking at the colors, these just all seem to go together so well. So the color variation might be off a little bit to what the actual aquamarine is, but I still love the end result, and I hope that the March dolls like it as well. I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm just going to show you, I believe, these first two nails, and then I did do a second coat on everything but the thumb and the ring finger, because those are getting covered with that pearlescent, and I didn't want to make these too bulky. That's why I didn't even put a base coat on top of the nail. But then going back and looking at them, this is the first time I'm using these tips, so I didn't realize, I don't think, how flat they are and how thin they are. You could put a couple layers and get away with it, and they're not going to be too bulky. I also knew I was putting a bunch of gems on it, so this is after we've got that painted. Like I said, 2 coats on everything but the thumb and the ring finger. And then we're going to put this awesome pearlescent color on there. This is where that teal one that I just got from SHEIN would have just went amazingly with this set. This still matches, but that other one would have sealed the deal. And these polishes are so pretty even before you kind of go in and do the swirls and get that like shell effect. The shimmer in these is just gorgeous. And I'm not sure what they have to do to make this stuff kind of self-level back to where you want it, where you don't have like gouges in the polish. But even before you kind of scribble in it, this stuff is so pretty. It self-levels so good. Like, this is magic polish. I don't know exactly what they do to it, but I am here for it, whatever it is. And I only did 1 coat, and then I take my dotting tool and I just start kind of scribbling circles down the middle, up the sides, and then you're going to kind of see like I go in different directions, kind of fill it back in, like go over where I already did. And like I said, it goes back enough to where you're not leaving gouges in it, but I don't know, this effect is so awesome. And I did have time enough to do these 2 nails, and it didn't move, it didn't mess up the design. So I imagine if you were, doing all like a whole hand or whatever, you would have time to draw or scribble in it, get your shell effect, and then cure. Like, I imagine you would be able to do multiple fingers. And then it is a full 60-second cure. And what's crazy too is it doesn't come out textured. Like, if you touched it with your finger after you've cured it, it's not textured, which you would think after scribbling it would be. And it's just so pretty, the effect that it gives. And it's packed with shimmer in there. Like, I love this stuff. I have quite a few of these, and I think I've only used them once. My very first video, I believe, when I did the mermaid design, I used a purple one, and I really haven't used them since. Like, they're going to be my new addiction. This Aurora Galaxy one, it's so subtle on top of here, like as far as the blue color base, but the shimmer that it gives is just to die for. I absolutely love this stuff. And I think this was like a 6-pack set, and it came with all different colors. I mean, just look at that. Ugh, so pretty. It makes me think of the aquamarine jewel. Like, it looks like a jewel to me. So very, very happy. I did that on those 3 remaining nails, those 3 teal nails, and then a full 60-second cure for that as well. And this is another one I got from Shein in that X brand. These are the only ones I got from that brand that aren't full-size bottles. The rest of them that I've got have all been like 10 or 15 mLs. I think these ones are 7. And it comes in the little plastic bottles, whereas the new stuff I got is like in actual glass jars. But I love it. I love this stuff. And it was so cheap. And you get, like I said, 6 different colors. We are going to go into some foils. So I haven't used foils much at all on my channel. I do have quite a bit. But the foil glue is a pain. And I actually tried something different on this one and it seemed to work pretty good. But what I'm wanting are these blue roses, these blue flowers. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut those out using my little scissors. And like you'll see in a second, like I cut single flowers out. So when you're using your foils, go ahead, cut out what you want. You don't have to use, colors that you don't want or whatever. This is the MAKARTT nail foil glue. I have this and then I have Beetles. And I don't like the Beetles one. No matter how thin I make it, it ripples every time. And if you're doing it on a light color, it discolors the nail. So yeah, that's not for me. So I did a thin coat. I cured it for 20 seconds. Then I laid the flowers on top, smushed them down with the silicone end of the tool. And then I finished the cure. So then I did a full 60-second. And this was actually a subscriber who left a comment telling me about this. And it worked. There are still like on the edges where it didn't stick. Now that could be that I didn't put enough foil glue. But for the problems I was having versus this came out so much better. And I know all foil glues are not the same. I know that there are some out there that are just amazing. I don't have those. So I had to make do. But this is definitely a good hack. Maybe just make sure that you cover sidewall to sidewall. But pull that off. This is what we're left with. And I believe, like, to me, that pearlescent and the flowers, like, it all ties it in. I'm so happy. We are going in with all the fun bling. This is a gold and like blue charm I've got. We're going to use these kind of aquamarine looking gems. I'm going to be using flowers. I'm using this lighter blue, which almost look white when I put them on. I'm going to be using some gold cuticle bars from LGN, also her Bling It gel. I'm also using her gold caviar beads, which I'll show in a little bit. And then I'm using just some small gold gems. And then we are just basically gonna bling out these nails. So it might get choppy. I have to cut a lot out because my head is always in the way. And as you've seen by the intro, I have a lot of hair and I wear it on top of my head so it's not in my face, and it's always in the camera. Even when I straighten it and it's not flying everywhere, still it's on the top of my head, so it's all over the place. But so I just put a thin, even layer of that Bling It gel, lay down the cuticle bar, and then I start blinging these out. And like I've said plenty of times, like, just play with your gems. There's no right or wrong way to place gems. Just put them on there, move them around, get them to where you like them. And that's what I love about her Bling It gel is I can put a thin coat on the nail and then I have all the time in the world to move these all over the place, get them how I want them. If I don't like something, I just pull it to the side of the nail and pull it off and just play. And I'm usually satisfied with the way that it turns out. I will flip my hand facing me like this and kind of adjust them, move them.
That's what I've got there. And then I'm going to do a little bit on the edge of the nail. So I put one of the small flowers, and then I put some caviar beads kind of around the flower. When I first did it, I put some of the small gold gems, and I just didn't like it. Even using the smallest size, they were just too big compared to the flower. So I took those off, and then I just put some caviar beads on the ends of it. And I really, really like how that turned out. And then once I have everything where I want it, and I've added a little caviar bead to the middle of the flower, it's a full 60-second cure, and then we're on to the next nail. So again, thin layer all over the whole nail. And I did this because this cures non-tacky and it's super shiny. So I'm using this instead of using a top coat. So I don't even have to worry about top coating around my gems and stuff. This, I was bending this a little bit because it was so flat that it was sticking up on the nail. Bent it just a little bit and it fit like a glove. I did put a little bit more gel around the edges of that, kind of to reinforce it. And I just love the way it came out. This nail, I'm mirroring what I have on the pinky nail. I'm doing the same exact thing, just a little bit of a bigger scale because it's a little bit of bigger nail. And then the thumb, again, thin layer of that gel. I'm going to be using the same gems, but I'm going to do something completely different as far as the layout goes. So I got a big flower, put that in the middle, put smaller ones to each side. Then I went in with those gold gems and put those in the middle. And I believe also on the end, I put the even smaller gold gems. And then I put caviar beads on each end, and then obviously in the flower. And I love the way this turned out. It kind of looks like flowers on water almost. It reminds me of like a lily pad, or yeah, whatever that flower is. But I love the way that this turned out. And I think it's glam enough for a birthday, but it's not too overboard. Yeah, I'm not mad at it. For the middle finger, I put some caviar beads in the center of each rose and then sporadically over the finger. And that is what we've got. This is the final look. I hope that you guys love it. Leave me a like, comment, subscribe. Happy birthday to all of the March dolls. I hope that you guys have an amazing birthday, or have had an amazing birthday, because this is coming out literally on the last day of the month. I'm going to do better for the months moving forward. I'm really, really going to try. But yeah, I love this. I love the way it turned out. Let me know if you would wear these, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, dolls.